Stand by, stand by. Sorry.
You ready?
Okay, shooter ready.
Go. First round hit, dead center of the tent.
Wow.
Right here.
All right.
You have a first round hit at 500 yards right here.
Unbelievable.
Okay? All right. Somebody come with me so we can go paint.
That's that Atlas bipod. Like you showed me how to use it better, and that really worked.
That was a hell of a shot. That was
Thanks.
nice, man. And you got it on video.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to Twang and Bang. Ordinarily, making a 500-yard shot on an E-type target like that isn't that much of a challenge, especially once you get used to it and you're shooting a rifle like this one that makes things easy for me. But that wasn't a standard position. It's really hard to tell from the video, but I was actually flat as a pancake in this divot in the side of the hill. I was shooting underneath a barricade and over the rise in the ground in front of me. That gave me a very thin window to even be able to see the target, which is why my rifle was turned on its side. And that's exactly the kind of shot that we learned to make at the non-standard shooting positions course at Raidon Tactics that I took this weekend. And that's what's coming up next on Twang and Bang. The practical portion of the class started when we were told to build a position. The shooting position could be anything we wanted, we just had to do it somewhere in the classroom. I thought I'd use my Atlas bipod to help me brace on this desk, and that's pretty much what I did to build my position. But that was not nearly enough.
That looks good, okay? And you're strong and you're stable. You've got, I would grab less of the gun and more of the table, okay? That's the only difference. And then I would switch here from meat to meat instead of bone to meat. Everybody's gonna argue about that, okay? But it is bone to bone. Yes, they're hard surfaces, but that's where we're gonna pick up more pulse impulse. Meat to meat, I'm gonna reduce some of that pulse, okay? And I'll be able to, because it's soft. So my pulse,
so it's counterintuitive, right?
Yes, it's gonna be a shock absorber for that, okay? Next, I would make sure that my foot was extended as far as I could, and if I could sit on my ass, I would, but it doesn't look like you can.
I can't without changing angle.
Right, but you've got a camera bag and rolls, you've got all this right here, and I told everybody to build a position, you didn't use what you had available.
Right, so
okay?
that makes a huge, now I'm relaxed, because before, like while I was waiting, you're saying, I want everybody to stop wiggling. I'm like, there's no way. Yep. I am like wiggling like crazy because my leg was holding me up. Yep. And now
you can sit here all day.
That pack is holding me up.
Yep. And so here's the next problem that I have. Now it's only 308, but it's not got a break. It's going to recoil. It's going to push you off of this and change your position. That's the reason that I don't shoot like that. If I were going to do this, I would lock in aggressively one of the bipod legs. Okay. And that's how I would do it. Now, you can do it any way you want, but you've also changed your elevation here. So you might find that by you reaching up and popping this off, okay, you getting a little bit lower, depends on where, of course, where your shot is.
Right.
But you might have to come up or you might have to come down. This will let you drop, or this can let you come up like you had. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you can do, I won't slide this back on. Okay. Okay. Now there's not so much of a chance of you sliding all around. Okay. I'd wrap my thumb under that. Now what happens is you have something to drive forward, so you can push that gun forward. Okay.
Right.
You can really load it.
Yeah.
And if it recoils, it's not going to change much.
Right.
Okay. You got to make sure you get your elbow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the problem. Is this is really getting out far for this arm.
I understand. So, but here's the neat trick. You have an Atlas.
Oh, flip it backwards.
Now, scoot up further.
Oh yeah. So I could, right.
Okay. It's all about just getting you a position with the tools that you have. Okay.
That last statement was the biggest lesson of the day. Use what you've got to build your position. And this lesson is one that made an immediate difference in my ability to shoot my rifle. We then spent some time going over the side prone position. In this position, you're as flat to the ground as you can get with your rifle laid sideways. This gets your optic really low. You might have to adopt this position to shoot under a barricade or even vegetation that might be blocking your view of your target. This is where I first learned a position that I used in the beginning of this video.
And honestly, we all thought initially that this felt way too awkward to have any practical benefit. But here's where I started to put that big lesson to use already. You can see that I'm using my Atlas bipod turned on its side, and that's locked down. So it's acting as a front monopod. Then I'm using a rear shooting beanbag to support my rifle on the left side underneath the scope. And this is giving me the stability that I need in order to make a shot. It's still really hard to get in position and get my eye on the scope for proper eye relief. But I did it.
It's not so bad though. I'm happy with that group.
We shot until we got a group going so we could calculate our offset from our 0. This took me 3 shots. Next, we shot to get our offset for shooting right-handed on a left shoulder. I just drilled the dot. I didn't have any offset whatsoever, so I wasn't sure that that was right, so I gave it another shot just to confirm. And once again, I hit the dot, so I've got no offset for this shooting position. The last thing I did was to shoot completely left-handed to get my offset from this position. Once again, I drilled the little dot at 100 yards, so I've got no offset for that either, so I didn't bother to send another round down range. And here's the resulting target. I shot once at the orange dot to confirm my 100-yard 0, and then I shot 3 times side prone to get my offset, which is a 1 mil by 1 mil offset. This dot was my aiming point for the left shoulder right-handed shots. The first one was the one on the left, and the second one was the one on the right. And finally, this was my aim point for the full left-handed shot. Again, you can see I hit the dot, no offset. And this target shows why I love my rifle. It makes things very easy for me. So now you know what I've learned in class and on the short range that day. This is where I use it to build my position for the shot you saw at the beginning of the video. There was not one bit of material from the class that I didn't use here. And that's exactly the point in making us shoot under this barricade in the first place. My view of the target is just a thin slit formed by the bottom of the barrier and the rise in the hill in front of me. Once again, I use my Atlas bipod as a monopod on the front by turning it sideways, and then I use the beanbag to support the rear of the rifle. The rest of my positioning is just getting my body in place so I can get my eye in the eye box of the scope. And that's everything that went into building my position for the shot.
Come up. Stand by, stand by. Sorry.
But of course, I also had to figure out where to aim. That's the target there, 500 yards away. And this is what my reticle looks like because it's held sideways. With my offset being 1 mil down and 1 mil to the left, my point of impact is going to be out there in space. That doesn't give me the best point of reference for aiming with this reticle. I'd rather find an aiming point inside the grid. And lo and behold, that orange clay is about 1 mil off the target, so I can use the line and that dot for a very precise point of aim.
You ready?
Okay, shooter ready.
Go. First round hit, dead center of the chest.
Wow.
Right here.
All right.
You have a first round hit at 500 yards right here.
Unbelievable.
Okay? All right. Somebody come with me so we can go paint.
And all that is how I made that shot.
Shooter ready.
We ended with a
ready.
little long-range shooting
Stand
match. There
by.
were 4 stations, and we had to engage 3 different targets from each of the stations. We had 8 minutes to run the course, but nobody was getting it done. The first target to engage was the steel you see on the left there, which is the same steel that I shot from underneath the barrier before. Then you were to engage 3 different electronic targets like you see on the right there in any order you wanted. Since hitting the steel confirmed my correction, it was a no-brainer to engage the pop-up just to its right at the same
No
distance.
pressure.
Hit. 2 for 2.
I then engaged the farthest target of the course, which is the pop-up you see on the left. I had to range it with mils and then calculate my hold on my Horus reticle. But instead of just milling it, I decided to try the Horus range-finding lines, and I actually forgot the right way to use it, so I was missing. I then went to milling like we learned, realized my mistake with the horse rangefinder lines, and then came up with a good holdover.
I get a different mill. Again. What'd you hold? 4. I didn't want to.
The last target to engage at each station was another electronic target about 375 yards away, and somehow I did not get footage of that target. But once I hit this target, I can move on to the next station where I engage the 3 electronic targets again.
What's it mill? Hit. Moving. Let's go.
We didn't know it until later, but that shot just severed the battery cable to that target. And since it was the closest target, I decided I wanted to engage it again from this barrel. There's no question in my mind that I just nailed it again. It was really close, it wasn't that hard a shot to make, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't go down. So I'm just drilling it over and over again. And so I just start making a 1 mil box around the target, trying to hit it somehow, pick up an edge. I couldn't figure out why this thing wasn't going down. With the sun down so low, the trace was hard for my instructor to pick up, but eventually he said, you know what? You hit it, just go on to the next target. So now I moved on to the next target, which I've already hit from the stump, so I know where I should be aiming. And once again, I think I'm making hits on it, and it's not going down either. Well, turns out I broke it too with my first pass, because it took a pretty solid hit from a fist to get it to register an impact when the instructor went down to check the target. Just goes to show that electronic pop-up targets are fun, but they fail just like anything else electronic.
So I love this rifle, but mine was the only one like it there. Everybody had something different. And though I got a lot out of this Atlas bipod and H59 reticle in this Bushnell ACMR, the lesson of the day was run what you brung, but make sure that you use everything that you have for the resource that it is. You know, of course, I had this beanbag to be able to use to prop up my rifle. But as you saw, I used the bipod in a non-standard way. And if I didn't have this beanbag, you know, you take off a shoe and shove it under there. Use what you've got to set up a stable position, and then that made pulling the trigger a whole lot easier for me. And as I said, that was the big lesson from the course. If you want to learn more about Raidon tactics and the training that they have to offer, be sure to click the link in the video description below. If you like this video, please take the time to log in and click the like button or the plus button on Google+. YouTube needs to know that you like firearms-oriented programming. Be sure to click right here to subscribe so you can catch my next videos on bows, guns, and other cool stuff. I really appreciate you watching Twang and Bang, and I hope to see you next time.